Ocala.
Diamonds in the sunset, now your time has come.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. You know, there's something about us human beings I've always found interesting, Robin. Here's what it is. It's when you tell somebody something and you go, oh, yeah, I know. I heard that already. I got that word. I heard that. Well, who did you hear it from? Well, if you are in Ocala and you've got the word about anything going on, whether it's the news and it's maybe political or maybe an accident happened, which we hate those kinds of stories, in both cases, for the most part, or an event happening, there's somebody who got that message to you. And those people are our communicators. And you might instantly point to the Star Banner. Obviously, that's a great place to go for information. You might point to the source.
Yes.
WOCA. There's actually an award for those folks who do an outstanding job communicating to the rest of us. And it is called, let me see if I got this right, the Wilton F. Martin Communicator of the Year Award. And that is Buddy Martin's dad.
That is indeed.
Is that right?
Yep.
And that voice is Laura Burns. You know Laura from Career Source. And we just kind of plugged, by the way, that thing you're doing for
Earth Fair.
Earth Fair. Thank you. Laura, in this case, she's here to represent the Florida Public Relations Association. You are the chairperson?
Yes,
Right? Am I saying that right?
Sure.
Dave Schlenker is here. Say hello, Dave.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Dave is a writer, editor, photographer, artist. He's everywhere. Everywhere we go, there is Dave, and then elsewhere. And he's one of the communicators. He's one of the people. When you hear about something, where'd you hear about it? Oh, I don't know. You say the Star Banner. Well, it's Dave. It's not. It's
Yes.
Sometimes it does point to one person, and that's what we're talking about. And Lauren Bactolorio is in the studio. First time meeting Lauren. You are beautiful, and you are the president, right, of the United States of America.
There you go.
The Florida Public Relations Association Ocala chapter. Did I say that right?
That is correct.
And how come I don't hear you?
You don't hear me?
Now you're on. No,
Now
it
you
was my
hear me.
fault. I had the microphone turned off.
That's
so you
what
look
my
at,
husband would like to do.
turn the microphone off?
Oh, man.
Ba-dum-bum.
You must have a big house if you have microphones.
Oh, yeah. Well, he'd like to turn my volume down.
So you're here to talk about the award and to solicit nominations. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct. And just speaking of correct, well, a slight correction, I'm the chair of the Communicator of the Year Award, not of FPRA. So
Okay. Of the award.
Of the award.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. So, and I just want to start a little bit because Wilton F. Martin, Communicator of the Year. Wow, that's a mouthful. That's a lot, and it really is significant. And I just wanted to give a little bit of genesis of what the Florida Public Relations Association is and its deep roots here in Marion County. FPRA got its start in 1938 here in Marion County
Wow.
at Silver Springs.
Wow.
And the legend has it that Lieutenant Colonel John Dillon, he was a lieutenant colonel at that time, but he was the publicity director for the Junior Chamber of Commerce down in Miami. And he was on his way back from the State Chamber of Commerce meeting in St. Augustine. And he was upset because that year, for whatever reason, what we now consider public relations was given very short shrift on the agenda. Hadn't in the past, hadn't subsequently, but that particular year, for whatever reason, it was yanked from the agenda. So he was stewing about that. And back in those days, they didn't have, what is it, I-90?
I-5.
From the interstate that goes from, Jacksonville down to Miami, that didn't exist. So all roads brought him through Ocala, Silver Springs. He stopped at Silver Springs to commiserate with his friend and colleague, Wilton F. Martin, who was then publicity director at Silver Springs.
Okay.
And the two
okay.
men, I wasn't privy to their conversation, or maybe it was over some.
Oh, I could have told you what they said.
Yeah,
I know how men are when they get together.
decided let's put together our own organization so that we can promote, at the time, publicity for Florida. And in fact, the Springs hosted the first couple organizational meetings of the association, where they sort of framed what was going to happen, and there were some big hitters there. And then also Ray Davidson was one of the co-hosts of the state conference or convention that was held later in Tampa that year or the next year. And that's the birth of FPRA. And Wilton F. Martin served as the association's first secretary, and really that meant he was the PR person. He was the spokesperson.
PR for the PR.
Right. All the
Okay.
date lines came out of Ocala, Silver Springs. All the voice was Wilton F. Martin. It wasn't Lieutenant Colonel John Dillon at the time. It was Wilton F. Martin, and he went on to serve as the state president the next year. And he went on to do many wonderful things in journalism. He kind of, like me, he bounced from newspapering to PR, newspapering to PR. That's why we've named it Wilton F. Martin, in honor of one of our
Now, when you say
founders.
we've named it, how long has it been
Ocala
around?
chapter. Well, we started the
I
community.
mean, how long has the award been around?
The award started in 2005.
Okay.
And the Star Banner was the first institutional winner, and Heather Dannenhauer was the first individual winner.
All right.
And in 2011, we renamed it in honor of Wilton F. Martin.
Oh.
It wasn't originally called that. The year I was president, I said, I'm taking care of this. We're going to honor our roots. So that's sort of the genesis of
okay.
it.
Okay. That's interesting.
And we are asking for community nominations. We had a wonderful group last year. We had 12 outstanding. I mean, it was impossible to pick winners, but we did. Not me. I didn't do any of the judging. But just fantastic. And so if you know somebody that, like a Dave Schlenker, that you want to nominate, or an institution that you want to nominate, go to our website, fpraocala.org, and you can get to the online nomination form. And we'll have a big awards party.
All right.
Next
All right.
month.
Well, I'm anxious to find out how. I mean, what do the judges look at? So,
That's very darn it.
I mean,
Why don't I have that in front of me?
do you send it? Yeah. Do you give like a whole bibliography of what people have done? And,
The criteria, it's broken down, what we're looking for. You basically have to use some strategic tools of communication. Dave is an outstanding example because, okay, we know him through his work at the Star Banner, but that wasn't the only reason he got that. He had, with his work with
Now lay me down.
Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. His work with Cameras for a Cause.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Even his
That is a
support
great idea,
and
by the
work
way.
with the Ocala Civic Theaters, or the Nutcracker Suite.
Dance Alive Ballet.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you know, if you follow him on Facebook, he gets the word out about everything through his, so he just sort of touches in the written word and the visual, just all sorts of things. So you need to be able to use your communication skills to improve quality of life in Marion County.
And that's what Dave is all about.
Yeah.
He's all about community, because there isn't any Facebook post that's about Dave. It's always about something that's going on or suggestions to make the community or events better.
there was just one now about a giraffe, though. I did notice.
Yeah, the giraffe.
You called her
and,
stupid. You said, "Is this stupid giraffe ever going to have a baby?"
No, I said, is a stupid giraffe even
April.
pregnant?
It's the same thing. I just paraphrased. I'm a communicator. Hi. So,
I'm going to hand it over to Lauren and Dave. So
Well, there you go.
Take it, Lauren.
have all of you been recipients?
I have not.
No.
No.
How could you
have
not?
on the state level.
No, that was with the Image Awards.
Oh, I see.
Can I just tell you
have-
one thing about public relations? This is something I say to Robin all the time, that you always know when an organization has a good PR person. We always know. Because if you get any kind of information about an event upcoming, you can always tell the good ones from the ones who need a little tweaking.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Or who need to send something, period.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yes. And then those are the invisible
you can't
ones.
read people's minds. Is that what you're saying? You don't have a crystal ball? Okay.
We
gotcha.
get calls at the Ocala Star Banner quite a bit from people complaining about why we didn't cover their event, and the answer is very easy. You didn't tell us about the
We
event.
get similar, yeah.
Yeah.
We,
I bet, yeah.
We have authors who say, I live in Ocala. I wrote a book. How come I've never been on the show? Hello? Did you call us? We have everybody on. If you've written a book, that's just an open invitation. So
You're making me feel special.
you are special.
are
If you have
exceptionally
everybody on,
special,
then-
yeah. No. You are.
You're on all the time.
You're exceptionally
Tell
special.
them about the award.
It's very sharp, and it's very heavy. It's Very nice.
pointy.
Yeah. I say this, I actually dropped it on my foot recently. Did you hear this?
Dave, did you know you were a recipient the year you won? I mean a contender, a nominee.
Well, I was, Laura sent me a note saying, all the nominees get a note saying, you're in the running.
Are you in the audience, like at the Academy Awards, and you don't know?
It's exactly what it is.
Really?
You guys hired a seat filler for me. That was very nice when I had to
Brad
go.
Pitt.
Yeah,
Wow.
Brad
Brad
Pitt
Pitt.
Brad
sat
Pitt,
in
yeah.
for me.
Nice.
I mean, as Laura said, there was just an exceptional pool. Why and how I won to this day, I don't know. I mean, there was just a really good pool of human beings that.
Can we tap into your head a little bit? What do you go through? What is the checklist? Like when you say, okay, I need to communicate this. Do you have the who, what, why, when, and all? Do you do that, or is there a technique? How does a good PR person become a good PR person?
Well, I being in the newspaper business is it's something you do, and our job is to just let people know as much as they can, as quickly as they can. I think of Laura's husband, Joe Burns, who likes to tell people what's going on even before it happens. He is our online
Well, that's
editor.
the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Poor Laura.
So do you get any points? Does somebody, when you're judging, this is maybe an objective kind of a question, I guess. I always confuse objective and subjective, so forgive me if I have the wrong
That's
word
all right.
there. But I mean, do you look at style? Because when I read your writing, for example, there's a flavor to it.
Okay.
And even if I didn't know you, I think that flavor would still make its way to me.
Well,
do,
I think
do you know what I mean?
all writers and my friend Laura is in that as well. I mean, we go way back 26, 27 years.
Yep.
Writers have a voice, and that's what I think we all strive for. I mean, the idea is, as you said, I mean, I would like to think, and with any writer, any really good writer, is that you can read this piece without a byline and know who
Okay,
wrote it.
but aside from journalism, like when you're reporting on a candidate or something, that's different. But if you
Right.
want to get the word out, I mean, do you say, okay, I don't even care to let the readers know about this, but I do care to let them know about this. So do you pick what you put out there, or
Well,
does
we
somebody
try to cover
assign it to
all.
you?
I mean, in terms of the newspaper and communications, and really all local media, and you guys run into this too. I think it's a matter of if if it's open to the public, if it's an event, even from a political rally to a strawberry festival, we get requests quite a bit from people who want their event listed in the paper, but it's a private event. Nobody's invited to it.
I got you. Okay, right.
So, you have to say, no, that's something that we're not going to really waste our time on. Good luck.
But if I may, just because
Yeah.
I don't want people to be confused thinking, oh, only a reporter
Correct.
gets this award. That is not the case. Remember, Dave won last year. Yes, he writes, he's a features editor, and he writes wonderful columns, and he does great coverage
Yeah.
for the Star Banner, but that was
Which
just
is
a
where I
piece
was
of it.
going, yeah.
Right. It was sort of the totalitarian,
Yeah.
that's not the word, but the overall, with all his
Right.
other using.
And that is where I was trying to take the conversation, because I'm thinking of people who are not professional journalists.
I'm not a bright man, Larry. I wasn't catching on to that. But yes.
Okay, so in other words, can the lady who works for the church, who gets the word out about all the things that are happening in the community, but her audience maybe is not as big as the Star Banners, can she be qualified to be nominated?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Last year's institutional winner, by the way, was Silver Springs International Film Festival.
Yeah.
And that was because of the festival, how they promoted the festival, and the
Right.
impact of the festival, and how the festival worked with the business community and education. So it was broader. Another finalist was the Coates Golf Tournament, which, oh my goodness, just brought such awareness of our community internationally. So that's another one. We had the city of Ocala. We had the health partnership. I mean, just fantastic. Beth McCall was an individual nominee. So these are quite caliber people who aren't necessarily public relations professionals, but if they use strategic communications in any way to improve the community, we want a nomination for them.
And Lauren, do you look at them individually, or how do you determine? Do you compare, for example, or is it a different category? Would somebody with the Star Banner be categorized differently than somebody like Beth McCall?
They're all in the same
So
running.
it's all.
It's very difficult. I don't know how the judges actually went through that process to, because from my standpoint, like you said, there's so many different aspects to communication and making an impact and making people understand awareness. What I do on a day in, day out basis in fund development for the Public Education Foundation is my whole goal is to either work with events, but it's getting the awareness out of exactly what we do every day. And there's a fine art I'm finding with that, and that's why this organization is so important.
Absolutely, yeah.
In Ocala, because it could be the little church lady who every week is communicating to parishioners about all the things
Because
the church has to offer.
Who I think about are the listeners, and everybody says, okay, this is an opportunity for me to nominate somebody. And who comes to mind? The people you know.
No,
you say,
absolutely.
okay, who should I nominate? Oh my gosh, I'll use my lady at the church example again. The church lady. We have 500 people in our congregation, and every one of them knows everything we're doing because of this one lady with her Facebook page or something.
The go-to person.
The go-to person, and she does it well. And that's
Very
why I
well.
was asking Dave, kind of representing the whole group, what do you go through? How do you know, besides the fact that you're a newspaper person, how do you know that you've got it all covered? What is your checklist that says, okay, did I make sure? There's a guy out there who doesn't know where it is. Okay, there it is. There's the address, etc.
Just provide as much information as you can, and that's sorry. As a good, I just apologize on the air for almost knocking over water. As much information as you can get on, and I love your example of the church lady. I mean, I think of the folks at our church. I mean, they are wonderful communicators. I mean, they use different tools. I think of the folks who were nominated in my class. Should I call it a class?
Sure, call it a
All right,
class.
class of 2016. And what was so interesting is they were so diverse in what they did. You've got folks who are very community activism. They're not really necessarily in the communications business so much, but they're out there, they're visible, they're representing causes. You had people who actually were in the communications business, but not only were they in public relations, but I mean they step out of that box. You see them a lot, and they get their message across. And I really like what Laura and Lauren were saying about just for the betterment of the community. I mean, there's people on social media who I say this because I just posted a picture of my cat last night, but
I love those.
that go beyond
The cat had
pictures
a cool,
of my
the cat had a cool look to it too.
Yeah, that cat's a nice cat. But that use these tools very effectively for the greater good. And, last weekend, for example, of course, it was a busy weekend. You had the Strawberry Festival, you had Taste of Ocala, you had the Ocala Culinary Festival, you had the Springs Fest.
Oh, the Bellevue Library had their
Bellevue
community
Library, yeah,
event,
exactly.
sure.
And so you're looking for people who make a noise about these things and really get the idea across that I've been an entertainment editor and a reporter for the Star Banner off and on for about 26 years now, and I never thought I'd see this community in this position to where I cannot keep up to cover these events.
That's a good thing,
and
isn't it?
And not just events, but I mean really well
Not only
done
is there
cultural
a lot,
events.
but there are enough people to seem to fill
Right,
it all
to
of it.
support a film festival, like Laura mentioned,
Yeah.
to support,
So who gets the award? Let's say there's a person and he says, you know what I want to do? I'm going to clean up the water in the rivers. That's my job.
Oh, I have a great example.
Okay.
And this is
Well,
pure-
can I just finish my
Oh,
question first?
yes,
Okay, so
okay.
there's a person who says, I'm going to clean up the water, okay? I didn't mean to cut you short, but I want you to understand where I'm going.
Yeah.
And he says, you know what I'm going to do? I have a hard time with words. I'm just not articulate, but I'm going to put my money and everything into this thing. And so I hire Dave and say, Dave, would you please, you're a good communicator, I need this. So now Dave says, what do you want to do? And he said, well, I want to clean up the water. I want to have this campaign. Well, So then Dave writes up this beautiful piece, and it gets out into the Star Banner. Dave gets the award, but the guy
Not
came up with the
necessarily.
idea. Okay,
No.
that's my question.
No, because we have institutional and we have individual.
Individual, yeah.
And institutional can be, and that's where I was going with my example, that just in pure serendipity, the year that we renamed it in honor of Wilton F. Martin, Buddy Martin won the individual award. It was not coordinated that way. It just happened. And here's why. Because Buddy is the one who launched the Save the Marion Theater. And now, of course, we know he has a communications background in journalism and everything, but that was just a piece of it. That entire movement that, in fact, did save the Marion Theater very successfully. So that's a great example of using strategic communications and efforts for the community good. So now he happened to get the institutional for that, or the individual for that. Could have easily have gone institutional for the Save the Marion Theater campaign. So no, you don't have to be a public relations professional per se, but if you use your influence, and that's a piece of it. How do you influence others? How do you influence in the community? It breaks it down, what we're looking for on the online nomination form, and it also provides an opportunity if you've got examples. Here's a scrap album of photos that you can upload or whatever. We'll take as much information as you want to throw at us about
So
why
that's how
this
we-
individual should win.
That's how we reinforce our suggestion, right? We send you stuff, right? Am I right?
Upload it, yeah.
And Lisa Varner is a good example because she was with hospice. And that, takes a lot to get the word out of hospice. And there's always a reciprocity there. Each individual doesn't work with just their own cause. I mean, take you, Laura, and you, Dave, when we were raising awareness for the Children's Craniofacial Association, you two were very gracious to be in the video doing your Queen's Way for us to raise awareness. And you are part of, Ocala's royalty.
And Lisa Varner did win 2015 individual Communicator of the Year. And it wasn't just for, at the time, I think she was not with hospice anymore, but she was all her work with the Literacy Council.
Yes.
And, so it's not just a moment in time. And when you look at it, it can be for one big splashy thing like Save the Marion Theater, but it can be the day in, day out effort throughout the community. So we're looking for people who make a difference using communication skills.
All right, and that is the primary reason for being here today. And we want the listeners to know that if you have somebody that you would like to nominate,
fpraocala.org. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, 352-816-1264.
okay, and the actual ceremony to give out the awards is
April the 27th.
April 27th.
Yep.
All right, and where will it be?
The Livestock Extension.
The Extension Auditorium.
Yes.
Yeah, where the CEP has their
Morning.
breakfast and
Are there different categories?
the two, individual and
Oh,
institutional.
there's only 2 awards, the whole show.
Well, for
Okay.
this piece. During that awards program, we'll also be doing the Image Awards. That's for public relations programs and tools and that sort of thing. But it's sort of split into 2 different. We've done a mashup of 2 of our signature
Okay.
events to one.
So it's not like the Academy Awards in that there's like 100 Oscars or something.
Well, I think, hopefully not.
You have to put your best bow tie forward, though.
You
Dave
got it.
looks smashing in his bow tie.
I'm guessing
so.
there's going to be something scripted that involves an envelope mix-up. I don't know. No, I'm just
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
totally kidding. Totally kidding.
That makes me so nervous.
No, just
That
kidding.
makes me nervous.
No.
What if my envelope was wrong last year?
It was not. It was not.
How many word ceremonies are going to pull that little joke now?
I don't know, but that's really makes me so anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the Student Media Festival this year, I'm going to say the winner is La La Land.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, of
Oh, wait
course,
a minute. Wrong award ceremony.
somebody else will do it before us, so I won't do it.
Yeah.
No. Well, if we're up, no, we won't do that.
Well, thank you all for coming in. Again, the website, Laura, is
fpraocala.org.
okay. Lauren, back to Laura. You didn't say much, but thank you for being here,
I'm always here for support.
sharing this with. You did the Queen.
Yeah,
Wave.
I did the Queen Wave.
And Dave Schlenker Decker, as always, thank you for coming in here.
Thank
Queensway to
you for everything.
And Laura Burns, as always, you're magnificent. No wonder you're the Communicator of the Year. We'll be right back.
Mall Studios. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. Some key lawmakers say they'll honor President Trump's demand to look into the charges that former President Obama ordered wiretaps on his phones. Presidential counselor Kellyanne Conway tells Fox and Friends.
Why not include in the existing investigations into Russia this aspect, that whether or not this actually happened?
The president hasn't presented evidence phones were bugged. The White House expected to issue its revised ban on travelers this morning from mostly Muslim nations.
The president's initial order was blocked by a federal judge, and that ruling was upheld by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. President Trump has promised that the second try at the executive order will pass constitutional scrutiny.
Fox's John Decker. The Defense Department investigating reports